Head Start staff, thanks for all that you do. I am Mr. Stephen, your mental health consultant, and I hope you are having a super fantastic day. Today, we are going to talk briefly about grief and the steps that grief entails. Later in the next video, we're going to talk about 5 tips for handling loss. But first, let's talk about trauma. What is trauma? Trauma is when you lose something you do not know how you can live without. It might be a job, or a pet, or a loved one, or maybe your best friend moved away. Trauma can really be the loss of anything. On average, people experience a traumatic loss every 2 years. Does that surprise you? It does sound like kind of a lot, but it's normal. Think about your last 2 years. You've probably lost someone or something very important to you. For Head Start staff, the most common trauma we experience is loss of a loved one. We know that from surveys we've done. This is why grief is so important to talk about, because it is normal and it is so common. But okay, what do we mean when we talk about grief? Grief is the body's natural process of dealing with loss. You heard that correctly. Grief is in the body. It's not just in your head. It's felt in your gut. You feel it in your heart and your back and your legs and your neck. Your body processes, it deals with the loss of someone or something that you loved. And it just so happens that pretty much all people of all cultures go through similar feelings when they lose someone or something they love. Isn't that amazing? We all experience the same types of feelings. Okay, so what are these feelings of grief? Well, they usually go in order, but sometimes they jump around. So just know that this list is not hard and fast, and that your experience may be different. But usually the first thing we feel is shock. This is especially true when we didn't expect the loss. We are so surprised that our brain cannot even process what has happened. And this is totally normal. Very soon after shock, we feel denial. We say, no, this can't be happening. We are trying to avoid the inevitable. And this too is totally normal. Usually the next thing we feel is anger. All the emotion we've kept in comes out in anger. The reality is the situation is setting in and we don't like it. We are angry. We feel angry at ourselves or angry at who or what we lost. We can feel angry at God or the whole world, angry at our friends and our neighbors. And this is also totally normal. Usually the next thing we feel is something called bartering. What's bartering? Bartering is looking for a way out. We start wondering, how could we have prevented this loss? We say, what if I'd done something differently? What if I'd said this or that? Or what if I'd refused to go, or I hadn't let them, or whatever? Sometimes people will pray for the loss to not be real at this stage. And this is totally normal. Usually, the next thing we feel is sadness. After the anger fades, we often feel depressed. We realize there's nothing we can do to change the situation. Whatever has happened, And depression is a natural thing during grief. Maybe you don't want to get out of bed. Maybe you just want to use drugs and alcohol to not think about the loss. Maybe you might not enjoy doing the things you used to enjoy. You might not want to talk to friends or family anymore. You may not want to eat very much, or you may want to eat a lot. You are getting used to life without the person or the thing you love, and this is sad, and it's hard, and you just don't like life right now. And that's totally normal. Usually, after the depression stage, we kind of force our way, find our way into the stage of testing. Testing is where we feel miserable enough to take steps to change how we feel. We are trying to find the new normal, and this can take time. And this is totally normal. Finally, we reach acceptance. Now, some of the above stages of grief go fast for some people and slow for others. And maybe you reach acceptance after 6 months, maybe after 6 years. Acceptance doesn't mean that you approve of the loss. You do not approve of the loss, but it happened, and you've begun to live life in a new way. You will never forget what you lost, but you might forget to feel bad. And maybe that's not a bad thing. You have found a way to keep going, and this is totally normal. Friends, if you are asking how long it takes to go through all these steps and stages, how long it takes to be better, the answer is it depends. Everybody is different. But what they taught us in therapy school is it usually takes 2 or 3 full years of holidays and birthdays and seasons to get into a rhythm of life without the person or thing that we love. In the next video, we're going to talk about 5 tips to speed up the healing process. Don't worry, grief is normal and natural, and your body knows how to do it. And there are some ways we can get out of the way to help our body on its healing journey. Until then, thank you for all that you do, and have a super fantastic day.